Hello, my name is John Brisson, author of Fix Your Gut and Health Coach. Welcome to the Fix Your Gut YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the issues that can arise from ingesting MCT oil or Brain Octane Oil. Most people on the internet tell you about the positives of ingesting these oils, which I have written about in myself in Fix Your Gut. And of course, if you followed the work of Dave Asprey of the Bulletproof Diet or Bulletproof Lifestyle, then you know the benefits of ingesting MCT oil and Brain Octane Oil in moderation. That is not what today's video is about. Today's video are about the issues that can arise because many people are unaware of the issues when it comes to ingesting MCT oil or Brain Octane Oil. So first, let's talk about the differences between ingesting a coconut, the inside, the fleshy white part of coconut oil, which my favorite brand that I use is Artisana Organics. It is manufactured in California. They do not use hexane. It's a very high quality organic coconut oil in my opinion. I use it for cooking. I use it for putting on the skin to help keep the moisture in. So yes, I do recommend Artisana Organics as my brand of coconut oil that you can easily get in many stores. Whole Foods. I get mine from Sprouts. So yes. Then there is MCT oil, and then there's Brain Octane oil. So coconut itself, when you eat the flesh, it has many different fats, not just saturated fats. And, coconut contains oleic acid too, which is omega-9, and other saturated fats too, about 5% of other saturated fats. 5% of other fats, and the rest is saturated. And it contains fiber, and it contains macronutrients too within coconut. And then you have coconut oil. And coconut oil there's no fiber, obviously. There's no protein. All the macronutrients are taken out of it. All you're left with are the fats. So you're going to have a little bit of oleic acid, a little bit of non-saturated fats other than omega-9, and you're going to have the medium-chain triglycerides in the coconut oil. Then you have MCT oil, which MCT oil is it is primarily C8 and C10, which are caprylic acid, which is C8, which means has 8 long carbon chain, medium chain triglyceride, and you have capric acid, which is a 10 carbon chain for the fatty acid. And then you have Brain Octane oil, which is mainly caprylic acid, which is C8. And so those are the differences between which you'll have in each product. And, people will have positive and negative reactions to each of those products, and we'll talk about more why that might be in a minute. So MCT oil in itself, or Brain Octane oil in itself, since they're primarily C8 and C10, they undergo beta oxidation immediately from ingestion, especially Brain Octane oil. It starts even digesting in your mouth. And it doesn't necessarily require bile to emulsify it in the duodenum and in the rest of the small intestine and for it to be absorbed. So that's why people, they put MCT oil in their coffee or Brain Octane oil in their coffee, and they notice a good cognitive boost, good energy boost. That's because you're rapidly using those fats in your mitochondria for energy. So there's a problem with that, though, in that when you're ingesting the coconut, you have some fiber, you have some other fats like oleic acid in there, you have lauric acid, which is C12, which is in coconut oil, but is not in MCT oil and Brain Octane oil. So you have these other, you got macronutrients too, polyphenols in coconuts. So it kind of slows down the digestion, it kind of blunts it, so that it does reach other parts of your digestive tract, which could be fermented by bacteria in your gut, hopefully probiotic bacteria, to give some sort of probiotic benefit to ingesting coconut. And then coconut oil like this, there's no fiber, there's no protein, there's no macronutrients in it, but it still contains lauric acid, caprylic acid, capric acid, which are all medium chain triglycerides. It contains oleic acid, so it's less refined than Brain Octane oil and MCT oil. Then you have MCT oil, which this is one last thing. This coconut oil is still processed to some degree by the liver and the releasing of bile. And then you have Brain Octane oil, which is primarily C8 and C10, like I mentioned earlier, which is processed more than coconut oil, which is processed more than a coconut itself. And then you have brain octane oil, which is processed the most. So when you're ingesting a lot of coconut oil or a lot of fat in general, you can get diarrhea. It's common. It has an osmotic laxative effect in the digestive tract. The liver has to release, produce a lot of bile, release a lot of bile in the duodenum. So, if you eat enough fat, anybody's going to get disaster pants. You're going to have to run to the bathroom. But with each product, like if you could probably tolerate more coconut because it has fiber and macronutrients and polyphenols in it, more than you can tolerate, large amounts of coconut oil. But you could probably tolerate more amounts of coconut oil than you could MCT oil, brain octane oil, because those are, it's more processed and there's less differentiating fats in between it. So if you ingest a lot of brain octane oil, a lot of brain MCT oil, it overwhelms the body's ability to undergo the fats to undergo beta oxidation quickly and get into the cells. So it causes an osmotic laxative effect in the digestive tract because those fatty acids are not supposed to really be there. And it can cause bile dumping when it's not supposed to. So that will it acts as an irritant. So you have to go use the bathroom when you ingest large amounts of MCT oil or brain octane oil, that you actually might be able to ingest more coconut or coconut oil to get to that effect. Second, many brands of MCT oil and even many brands of coconut oil, when you buy a very cheap brand, and if it's not organic, for example, they will use hexane in the processing of separating the oil from the actual flesh part of the coconut. And there'd be many different degrees of hexane residue depending on the amount that was used and the amount that was fleshed out after processing. But hexane in itself it can be very irritating. It can be very irritating to the gut lining, very irritating to the gut. It's not good for the microbes, the probiotic microbes in your gut, because it can kill them off. So then, that can cause diarrhea in itself too if you have a very cheaply made MCT oil or very cheaply made, caprylic acid, or even a barely cheaply made coconut oil. So if you're going to eat coconut oil, I suggest it to be organic first, or I'd recommend, getting Orisana Organics, because hexane is usually not allowed to be used in organic processing of oils. Or if you're using MCT oil or brain octane oil, I generally recommend Bulletproof. They don't use hexane, and they're good quality. So yes, if you ingest too much MCT oil or brain octane oil, it can cause diarrhea. If you ingest poorly produced of those oils or even coconut oil that contain hexane, it could irritate your digestive tract and cause issues. Another problem is that the fats that are in coconut oil or coconut or brain octane oil or MCT oil, the medium-chain triglycerides, whether it's lauric acid, which is C12, which is in coconut oil or coconut, or C8 and C10, which are caprylic acid is C8, capric acid is C10, especially caprylic acid and lauric acid. They're very... Caprylic acid's antibacterial and antifungal. Lauric acid is antiviral because it converts into monolaurin. It's also antibacterial and antifungal. So if you ingest large amounts of that and you have dysbiosis going on in your gut, a lot of opportunistic bacterial overgrowth or fungal overgrowth, or even viral issues, if you have Epstein-Barr reactivation and you ingest a lot of coconut oil, if you're dealing with viral issues, or if you ingest a lot of bacterial or yeast issues, or if you're dealing with bacterial and yeast issues and you ingest a lot of MCT oil or brain octane oil, it can cause a die-off effect because, when yeast and bacteria are exposed to these chemicals, they lysense, they open up, they spill their toxins, and when their toxins get in your body has to get rid of them. And so one of the ways it does within the digestive tract is it causes diarrhea because, if you flush the toxins out through having diarrhea, your body doesn't have to deal with them anymore. And they can cause inflammation too. They can cause gut pain. So those are the mechanisms. And there was one last mechanism too I forgot to mention. Coconut oil, the fats, the medium-chain triglycerides are in coconut oil, or the medium-chain triglycerides, C8 and C10 that are in MCT oil, or brain octane oil, which is C8, which is caprylic acid. They can sensitize the gut to histamine and trigger Th2 immune responses. So people with histamine intolerance, you're having histamine issues, you should probably limit your ingestion of MCT oil and brain octane oil for sure, and possibly limit your ingestion of coconut oil and coconut If it starts making you develop new food allergies that you never had before, or worsening food allergies, or worsening histamine issues, like migraines, increased nasal congestion or sinusitis, asthma, allergies, anything like that, anaphylactis, then you want to reduce or give up your ingestion of MCTs, which are medium chain triglycerides. So you would have to limit or give up coconut oil, MCT oil, Brain Octane oil. Another thing is if you have a salicylate sensitivity, which salicylates are natural compounds that are found in different foods that we ingest, or different oils. Coconuts contain salicylates, coconut oil contains salicylates, but MCT oil and Brain Octane oil specifically generally do not contain salicylates. So if you have salicylate issues, which usually you would know that if you ingest certain foods that are high in salicylates, like coconuts or blueberries, for example, and you get really bad ringing of the ears, or if you take aspirin, you get really bad ringing of the ears, then you're sensitive to salicylates, then coconut oil and coconut are not right for you. MCT oil and Brain Octane oil may be possibly able to be ingested with people with salicylate sensitivities. So those are the issues associated with ingesting coconut products and coconut oils and the oils that are made from coconuts. So let's talk about things that you can do to make sure that you are it doesn't cause issues when you ingest coconut products, because who doesn't like coconut products? Okay, so first, caprylic acid, which is Brain Octane oil, C8, it may be a little bit less harsh on your gut if you don't have any significant overgrowth compared to coconut, or I guess compared to MCT oil. So you might do better with Brain Octane oil than MCT oil, or you might be able to tolerate more Brain Octane oil than MCT oil. So if you're having issues with MCT oil, maybe try to switch to Brain Octane oil and use the same amount, and if you can tolerate it, maybe use a little bit more, or switch to coconut oil and try to use the same amount and see if you can tolerate it. The second thing is if you have histamine intolerance, then you might do better limiting or cutting out MCT oil ingestion. Extra virgin olive oil, which is oleic acid, that would be a good source of fat for you because oleic acid is antihistamine. It reduces Th2 responses, so you would want to can't replace cooking. You could probably get away with ghee for cooking instead of coconut oil or lard, good quality pastured lard. But for your salads and stuff like that, or just general cold ingestion, then organic extra virgin olive oil is a really good way to go. If you're suffering from Th1 dominance, which is inflammation-based, or Th17, which is a combination of inflammation-based and histamine-based dominance, then I would suggest limiting your sources of MCT oil too as well, because coconut oil contains lauric acid, which increases Th1 and Th17 immune reactions in some people. MCT oil or Brain Octane oil actually might do better because they don't contain lauric acid, so you might be able to tolerate them. For example, I was not able to tolerate coconut oil when I had Th1 dominance when I had H. pylori. It would make me feel horrible. My stomach would hurt very badly, but I could tolerate little amounts of MCT oil and little amounts of Brain Octane oil. You want to make sure that you purchase a high-quality coconut oil or high-quality MCT oil or Brain Octane oil, which is specifically bulletproof, because you don't want to make sure that there's no hexane in the product that can irritate your issues. You can also try consuming MCT oil or Brain Octane oil or coconut oil with meals instead of taking them on empty stomach. For me, taking any of these oil on an empty stomach, not so much now, but in the past when I had digestive issues, it would cause massive abdominal pain. But if you take them with meals or you cook your meat in them, you might be able to tolerate them a little better. Protein might be able to help with that. Yeah, I mean, if you stick to those methods I talk about as far as ingesting, as long as you're not dumping tablespoons of Brain Octane oil into your coffee and you're going to have to run off to the bathroom. If you follow these certain steps, there might be a possibility that, you might be able to tolerate these products better, and you might be able to get the health benefits better from them as well. One last thing, one thing too, I forgot to mention. If you have really bad dysbiosis, especially gram-negative dysbiosis, and you have a lot of endotoxins being produced, which usually trigger Th1 dominance for most people, which is an inflammation. Which, if you don't know what Th1 dominance, Th2 dominance, Th17 dominance, Google self-hacked in those terms, and you can read Joe Cohen's excellent articles on Th1 dominance, Th2 dominance, and Th17 dominance. But usually if you have a lot of negative, gram-negative bacterial overgrowth, which gram-negative bacteria are like H. pylori, Citrobacter, Protus mirabilis, then you don't want to ingest a lot of MCT oils, because there's many studies that show that if you're ingesting them, they may cause the endotoxins to get in your bloodstream. And when that happens, it can start, inflaming other parts of your body and your heart, and you really don't want that. So yeah, I hope you found this video informative. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great evening. I hope y'all take care. Bye.